The round thing. We're live. Look, we're live.
We are now.
Yeah.
We're live.
We are just joining the universe, having a conversation together. I have an amazing friend with me today on the decision table. I have been backed up, so much going on this morning that my usual time, I wasn't able to have the decision table. So I thought I would save the best for a later moment. And here's that later moment. Robert, welcome to the decision table.
Thank you.
You're very welcome at this table. These are literally just conversations that we are having where this month the focus is really around the lens of the need for a new approach to leadership. When I bring that up, what do you think about?
Probably what we're doing.
Yeah.
I think because we're collaborating and we're jumping in and we're going into areas where we both have skill sets and it's something new, but we're collaborating at a higher level and faster.
Yeah, I like that. So a higher level and faster because we're willing to collaborate. Do you think, and I think that that's part of, that I think that I believe this is part of the new approach to leadership is really creating a platform or partnerships that really show collaboration as being such I think it's a powerful tool, right? Like it's the way forward. Now, I don't know that there's amazing cases or situations or examples of collaborations because I don't know about you, but in the past, there have been definite times where if I partnered up with someone, it might not go the right way. There might have been different expectations. Why do we think collaborations can work now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, have you had bad collaborations? Have you seen bad collaborations?
Yeah.
I don't know. There just feels like there's a lot of those examples and not so much the good examples.
Yeah, I think, I don't know whether it's just experience as you go through things, that you change your expectations and manage them differently. You understand people and what the marketplace is like. And I don't know, for myself personally, I've got to a stage where I'm comfortable in who I am and I'm happy to go forward and believe the best is going to come out of something. I've done that before where it hasn't happened, but it's a different level of maturity, of understanding who you are and also the person that you're working with. And there's got to be something when you're working with someone that you actually get along with them and you like them and you have a common objective.
Yeah,
common beliefs.
That's so good. Common objective. You like hanging out with them, and a common belief. Did you say?
Yeah, common belief. Yeah.
Do you get on with me?
It's always exciting. Yes, I do.
You do?
It's good. Yeah, it's always challenging and
challenging because why?
Well, what I think that the most important thing first is vibrancy in life. All right. So unless there's that life and vibrancy, that you've got something to work with and energy, so that you need energy to be able to work together. There's got to be energy in the relationship.
Yeah.
That's
I like
really
that.
important.
Yeah. Because you've got to enjoy the journey, right?
100%. Yeah.
And I don't know. I think sometimes people choose a common outcome. They want a result and they join together because of the result, but it's not necessarily because they want to hang out with each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and maybe they develop that a bit. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately of partnerships that have fallen apart.
Yes, 100%.
And interesting enough was a lot of them didn't actually start as partnerships wanting to go into a partnership. They kind of fell into it.
Yep.
And I wonder if that's had something to do with it, that although they had the same outcome, because they really did, they felt, okay, I bring some genius to the table, you bring your genius to the table, and they kind of worked well because my weakness was your strength and likewise, right? But I don't know that they felt that companionship of, I like hanging out with this person. I like you vibe together.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
not just because we get to make the change that we want to in the business world that we want to bring, but because we like actually hanging out with each other, right?
100%.
So those moments. How do we do that? If you think about it, and this hasn't been such a good, examples of it out there. If we are saying for leaders in this new approach to leadership that partnerships are so important, collaborations are important, how can we do that better going forward?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I need to think about it, reflect on it.
I think one of the things, if I think about it, like I love asking questions and then asking myself the question. I do it every time. And I would say there's expectations, knowing really clearly what the expectations are, both on what you want to, the outcome that you want, but also that, expectations of what can you do? What is your capacity right now? What's your capacity going forward? Is this going to work? And I think the other thing is when you know expectations, you look at it not just in the short term. In other words, this fixes a problem now. But, when the border's open, I know you've got a few things you want to do.
Yeah. Well, I think it comes down to a confidence in who you are and a peer type relationship.
Not apples and pears?
No, just peer.
Sometimes your accent,
So if you go into a relationship and there's a confidence.
By the way, this guy was born in New Zealand too.
Yeah, I was. Absolutely.
Yeah. I won't hold it against you.
Brought up in Auckland and lived in the Waitakaris. Absolutely beautiful there. But then I came across to Australia when I was about 15.
So only last year then?
That's it. Well, we actually met traveling, didn't we?
Oh, we did.
Yeah. In Hawaii.
Hawaii,
yeah. That was a fun time.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were we talking about?
So
I said expectations.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Your expectation of what you're wanting to do. The thing too is that you don't just get caught in a niche. You can do lots of different things. All right. So you don't have this relationship that's based on one little niche or one little segment, because we can do lots of different things.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to stay just there. And that actually brings like some energy and life to it.
And that's kind of the fun thing of joining our worlds together, because, there's pockets of what you do that I want to be able to access more of and have the knowledge that you have in those areas. And I think the same I hope the same, my side of the border here.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah.
Social distancing, sir.
Oh, sorry.
Where's your mask?
You told me to get closer.
I did. So they could be in the camera. No, I'm just stirring. Okay, so
I didn't even come here for this today.
I know you didn't, because actually we're
I came
meant
in for
to
a glass of water.
He did.
Okay.
He did. I just found him a stranger on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Actually, he came to work on with me our collaborative partnership, but I thought it's kind of a good way to have a conversation, because I think this is part of that new approach, is to do collaborations better. And I know as a company for Decision Velocity Global, it has become our absolute focus is how do we literally build an ecosystem that is all about collaborations. And we figured out to do that was through partnerships. And, it's been interesting finding who I want to work with going forward to collaborate with, because I think, you said, you started saying about being confident. And I think one of the things is I've really got clear on who I want to work with and who I don't want to work with. And really clear of, does this fit into the pathways that I know are going to get us to bring the biggest impact that we want to bring as a company as well. And I think that has made it so clear who is right to come on this journey and who's not. And I know you said something at the beginning of this about speed. And one of the things that that I do with my work is to create what I call your culture pattern, right? Your decision DNA culture pattern for either an initiative, a program, a company. And that we did that right up,
We
as
did,
our first
yeah.
step.
Very fast, yeah.
And it just gave us clarity that this made sense. We knew it because we vibed together. We've also had a little bit of history together beforehand. So it
Yeah.
kind of gave us a little bit of a platform to bounce from. And then when we put that together, it made it really clear. What was it like for you?
It was probably it was actually a very good process to go through. It was very fast. I think we got there faster than I expected.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a complete process and method which you have refined. And the results that we got, I was very impressed with. And
he's not easy to impress either, by the way.
No, I look at it. I look at
it
it in front of me here, and I go, "That's incredible." There's our whole story, which came up basically on that first day.
It did.
Yeah. So I think it was really good, and that actually gave a whole lot more energy. In life, you need energy to do everything. So when we work, we have energy with each other. This here is a real map now to run with.
Yeah.
And even though we've had a bit of a gap since we last caught up, you can look there straight away and know where we're going.
I know, and you go back into it, right?
We know where we're going and what we're going to do.
You might want to show people because, like, I feel like we're being mean right now. We're talking about something over there. We're both looking over there. Should we show them what you're talking about?
Well, yeah, this is part of your system.
Hopefully, he doesn't break it.
I didn't break the last. I didn't break the last. But it is going
to come backwards on here. No, yes. But that's okay.
Backwards.
They've got the idea. So this is what I call a decision DNA culture pattern.
Where am I going?
Basically, we have the V spot in the middle, right?
We do.
Which is actually the vision. Okay, it's not what you think.
No, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Let's not go there right now. And then we have 4 pillars that hold that vision up.
Yeah.
And so in our case, it's strategy, systems, scale, and success. And we know we're building out in our collaborative partnership things that will bring us strategy, which is we're really clear on always having a game plan for what we're doing. Systems is all around frameworks, the frameworks that we know will help people to solve their problem and get to solution. Scale, we know that if you're wanting to have absolute growth and be able to be the biggest impact that you want, we know how to get you those objectives. And then the success for us is what are the options that you're wanting? How do you want that? And I'm looking forward to, you can put it down because I know, although he needed an arm workout right then. And there's so much more on there, but what it does do, like you said, it gives us pathways. Now he's broken it, by the way.
Yeah, I have. Sorry.
Little one. All those crashes? That's just Robert getting his crap together right now.
There we go.
That was not how it looked last time I put it up. But don't worry.
Yeah. Okay.
Fortunately, they can't see that, right?
Yeah.
Now he's breaking the set. Whew.
There we go.
Can't take you anywhere, can we? But what is good about that, right, is that it helped it gave us at that time, that when we first started, even just great framework for us to start building things out of.
Yeah.
What is great about that now, we're building some pretty cool stuff from that. I think, and this is where I think that it's really important with a new approach to leadership, is the old style of leadership was, I'm going to tell you how to do this. I'm going to tell you what are the 3 best things, the 4 things to put in there. But hopefully you realize when we were doing that, I wasn't telling us. I was literally working us through questions that then put into a framework. And then it was something we were both really, really, and both of us connected with it straight away.
100%. In a lot of work situations, you find just in normal business, it's never a peer situation. There's always an boss-employee type relationship.
Yeah.
So when you can come in, and whether it's entrepreneurial or whether you're joining with someone like in a collaboration, that's so important. You come in as peers, that you come in to work together. So once again, your expectation that you're talking about, and that's critical to the success. because you can't work through something like this and not buy into it. Everyone's got to buy into it and own it. So ownership's really important.
I love that. There's ownership. There was something else you said then, and that's hierarchy. Don't you think that a lot of the old style leadership was built on this hierarchy? I mean, you think of corporate, having been in corporate.
Yeah, 100%.
How would you describe that, or the thinking around that? And then what if we were to do it a different way, which is, like you've said here, it's not this hierarchy thing.
No. Hierarchy doesn't produce the most creative outcome. And in corporate, you're always driven by where you are on the stepladder or on the chain. That then frames your response and your engagement with what's happening with work. As you know, I've left corporate.
I have noticed that.
And it's such a joy
Yeah.
to be working and engaging in things that, you know, your heart's in, because I think the most important thing you got to have is your heart. Has to be your decision mate. So what's true in your heart, therefore your guidance is get out of your head and get into your heart so you can follow what really needs to be done.
Yeah, you know, something that's come out on the decision table a lot as we've used this lens for the new approach to leadership has that we need leaders to be more empathetic. Would you agree with that?
100%.
Yeah. Yep. Why?
You need to be empathetic because that's when you're going to give what's truly in your heart, what you can give. You've got to have to be able to deliver what's coming out of your heart. And not your head. In your head, you're dead. Your head doesn't.
And you got it straight from Robert. In your head,
you're dead.
You're dead.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, because your head will always go, what if? You'll always find reasons. All right. So you got to get out of your head and into your heart and know what's true and then start following that.
It's interesting because if I think of that, I'd say you got to get out of your head probably to see where your heart is aligned.
Yeah.
And then I'd say go back into your head to make sure your head is wired to where your heart is.
Correct. That's what
so
you
that
do.
the behavior then comes out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But you got to start off with your heart agreeing. It must be in what you're doing.
And that comes from a lot of what we've talked here, which is awareness, right? Like this is why I'm having these conversations so that we can be more aware of all these little pieces that seem so trivial sometimes, yet are so impactful for us to be more effective as leaders. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Knowing yourself, knowing your state, what state you're in. And thank you.
So a little bit of a backstory of why the laugh then is because he's just come off a few days with someone who talks about states all the time. I'm not going to mention who that is.
No.
But and I'm true. Sure you wouldn't even know who that is.
Give me a high.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
But it's true. There is this point where we have to be in state to be able to go. You've got to give out of that.
Know our own. Who we are and what we're doing.
Yeah. Because you can't come out of something that you don't own.
Yeah, correct.
Or something that you are not of.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow, that was deep.
Yeah.
Even for an afternoon.
That was it. That's what we're talking about here.
Oh, yeah, true. Great. So if we're to be like that in leadership, right? At least you know I'm just the same on screen that I am off screen. Like
I have to confirm that.
You have to confirm that. But I think here's the funny thing. I think that part of this new approach is to enjoy the journey. And I don't know if we laugh enough these days. I don't know if we have enough fun while we're doing it. Do you know one of the things I'm doing right now is just over here, usually over there, right here. I've got pencils. I've got lots of paper. I've got my pens on the side there. And that is literally my innovative place.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So talking about changing state, when I go there, I don't usually have a screen with me.
Yeah.
And I'm just wanting to innovate and be creative. Yeah. I even had the scissors out and I was chopping out something because I'm thinking of this book thing that I wanted to do. And it was just in my head and I wanted to start layering it onto paper.
I wonder how many people do that, use paper. I love paper.
I know.
I love a big piece of blank paper and some pens. I think that's how we both work, though. Some people might not work like that, but we definitely
But
do.
here's the thing, I don't think so. Yes, I do work like that, but I haven't been using that. And I realized I mean, I was using a pencil and just white paper.
Yeah.
Or my black paper with a white pen.
Yes, you do like that.
Yes. So it wasn't that I wasn't using it, but I wasn't bringing all the other elements and letting myself to go really into design. Like that was my kind of thing, right?
Yep.
And I left a big chunk of who I am out. So I was doing all the logical, strategic, the analytical stuff of being a businesswoman, really, right? An entrepreneur. But I was leaving a huge part of who I am out of it. And I wasn't creating or curating spaces where I was intentionally every day putting that time into being creative, designing stuff, innovating. And in fact, I'm going to be, so I'm just going to do a little plug for myself right now because.
How unusual.
Serious. Listen to this guy. No, because one of the things that I'm going to be running over the next little while is an incubator. I'm going to have a few people here who are going to be doing it, but I'm also going to do it so you can do it online. And this incubator is all it is going to be a project that someone wants to start working on.
Yeah.
So they're already going to be an established person doing whatever they're doing. I don't want to build businesses right now. We're probably doing that with our stuff more, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But I want to run this incubator that is literally that you are wanting to work on this new project and be creative around that and innovate and, curate the space. So that, because I think sometimes and this is something I've been learning, and it's so powerful in my work, is the more that I allow that time in my work away from the other stuff, the better and more effective I am at the other stuff. Yeah. And I can be the whole me, which is kind of scary for some people when I'm the whole me. So going back to it was the fun bit, right? Like I like to bring the fun in it. And that might mean that creating for me makes me feel happy.
Yeah.
Makes me feel like that child with the crayons and they start just, don't you love that feeling?
Absolutely. Yeah. The creative side is a really important part of you.
Yeah, but we often leave that in the business world.
We do. We
leave that behind.
Yeah, we do because we're proper.
Proper.
Yeah.
I always thought I was proper. I mean, I'm very proper.
You used to be a creative department.
There's my cup of tea.
But remember, there used to be a creative department in corporate. You went to the creative department. You went to the PR side. You went everything else. But it's all part of who we are. So if you're only taking one part of you into an engagement, you're not getting the full deal, are you?
So part of the new approach is, what if we could bring our creative side into that? I wonder what we would create. Wonder what we'd innovate. I wonder what that would look like.
Well, you got to allow yourself the freedom to do it too. It's giving permission to yourself to be able to do those things.
Maybe leadership. Maybe we've got so conditioned that we're not giving ourselves permission to do some of these things anymore. Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
Yeah. Because it kind of doesn't fit into the norm, like you said.
Correct. Yeah.
It's kind of not proper.
Correct.
How do we change from it not being proper, not being the thing, to now going, this could be a new approach? And actually, it's beneficial to be more creative, to curate spaces for that to happen.
Yeah, I think in some industries that's happening, and in the majority, I don't think it does happen. Certainly, getting around other people and who've got that same outlook is really healthy, and it's really good. And I just think it's a whole thing of self-development for people to be able to grow.
Tell me more about that.
Well, I think one of the things I've always believed you don't always get to see, and you never want to lose track of it, is the potential within every person to truly realize their full potential, which is an outlook on life. And I think when you just can keep that at top of mind, that there's a potential in everyone. You never know what's happening in everyone's life, but there's a full potential of someone. And if there's any way I can play a part in helping someone develop that potential, I get a fulfillment. And as leaders, that is so rewarding, because what you've always wanting to do as a leader is you want to get fulfillment and growth, whether in the project you're working with or with the people that you're working with.
Yeah, that's so good. And when you know your potential, it's really easy to get excited about someone else's potential too.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you know, I think of it, and I think of, the Australian, because let's just bring it back into where we live.
Yeah.
The Australian landscape. Ever heard of the tall poppy syndrome?
Yeah.
Yeah. For those that aren't familiar with the tall poppy syndrome, how would you describe it?
Tall poppy syndrome is anyone who stands out or stands up and achieves. And people, when it first happens, people are encouraged by it and want to applaud, but then people start tearing it down. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
but isn't that what we're talking about? Standing up.
Yep.
Standing out.
Yep.
Being effective leaders.
Correct. 100%.
Okay, so I'm feeling like there could be some tension on this, because that's not the environment we live in a lot of ways.
No, agreed.
So how do we bridge that gap? How do we change that? How do we make this? I've always thought, if there was one thing I could do in Australia, I would want to eliminate the tall poppy syndrome.
I know we talked about this already, but I think having fun with your achievement.
Yeah.
Because often people who achieve are so intent and serious, which they have to be for what they're doing. Often in Australia, we often talk about, I don't know about other countries, but they talk a lot about sports people.
Yeah.
All right. So they're always intense. They're always.
And you're allowed to. Here's the thing: you're allowed to celebrate the sports people.
Yeah, correct. You are allowed to celebrate them. Yeah.
Or if you're a famous, like in the, what is it called? This, like the media, like or actors or actresses or whatever, right? Like if you're famous in that way, you're allowed to. In fact, they steal from other places and say they come from here.
Yeah.
When they really come from some other countries. We won't mention some of those ones, but just like Pavlova. Anyway.
Lemingtons.
Lemingtons, exactly. So, okay, that's a Australia, New Zealand joke. Either one thinks it comes from that place.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you live from another country, you probably thought you guys were the first ones to create or design Lamingtons or Pavlovas.
Pavlova's nicer.
Yeah. Oh, you're making me hungry. It's not really on my challenge at the moment.
No.
Okay,
we'll get off that.
Yeah. Distracted a little there. But, oh, gosh, what a good distraction. What were we saying?
Tall poppy syndrome.
Oh, the tall poppy syndrome.
You'd like to eliminate. I don't know if you will eliminate it.
I don't think so either.
No.
But if you ask me, if I was ever asked the question, what would I want to see changed here in Australia? It is the tall poppy syndrome. I'm definitely trying to put steps in for that, because I think this is part of it. I think that we need to celebrate each other. I think we need to make it
100%.
more normal for us to have conversations when we're struggling. I think we need to make it more normal for us. I put up, as soon as I heard who the Australian of the Year was, I put it into my feed. I can tell you that things like that will never get much of a love, or interaction on my feed.
Yeah.
Because I'm celebrating someone else.
Yeah.
But if I put a picture of me and I did an achievement and it's all about me, that someone else, I don't know, like I just feel like sometimes if it means that I've just got a new dog and they love the fact, and you're a dog lover and you go, oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
You'll comment on it, right?
Yeah.
Come on. Those that are listening, or who are going to be listening to the replay, seriously, like that gets me. I put these, and my heart is all about humanity. And so the front line of humanity, when I see challenges, when I see things like going back to the Australian of the Year, an amazing young girl who was taken out of trafficking or groomed and, was raped as a young girl from 15 on. We should be celebrating that she's found her voice.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know I got no comments on my feed about that particular one?
Yeah.
But if I got a new dog, I reckon I would have got like, oh, so cute. Oh, show me the photos. Show me that, right?
Yep. 100%. Agree
It's the
with
same
you.
concept. When you celebrate because you're being successful, like that's one of our things on here. We want people to be successful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If we become successful, are we to hide over here? Because if I hide, then I can't tell anyone. I don't need to tell anyone how successful. Like I want people to celebrate with me when I'm going through the hard times and when I'm doing the good things.
Yeah, but that's the journey. You've got to find people on your journey
Is that what it is?
that you're going to travel with. No one's going to like everything about everyone.
No, that's true.
Yeah, because all
Have I told you
individuals
lately, you know, that color that you're wearing on top? Like, nah. Just joking. Hello. My whole wardrobe's black.
Yeah,
I'm outdoing myself. Look, got a bit of white here happening.
I got about 15 or 20 of these.
I know, it's so good because we don't have to decide what we're wanting to wear, right?
I just feel comfortable in them.
Yeah,
that's
me
all.
too.
Got a whole lot of white ones, but you got to find special occasions.
Nah, and you've got to be like feeling not too fat when you wear white ones too,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
it kind of shows up. So that's why it's underneath there right
Yeah,
now.
you just zip that up.
Yeah. It goes with my beanie. I've got a white beanie on today too, just in case people couldn't see. Okay, so where were we again?
You said talking about tall poppy syndrome.
Yeah, but
that's
then
something that you'd like to get rid of.
yeah,
I look at across. It's interesting. I look at different countries, America, the UK, and there's different parts of that society or their culture that I do like. And if you dare mention you might like something American, people say, "Oh, you like something American?" Yes, I do. I do like some of the positivity. I really do. I love that.
Me
and
too.
Yet, you know, people say, "Oh, that's all American." I'm thinking, no, that's part of something I love and enjoy.
It was a culture, very much part of the culture.
It's part of the culture, yeah. I really love that.
And you can springboard out from that. Whereas over here, that was not part of it.
No.
And you really felt it, whether in Australia or New Zealand.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Absolutely.
Same thing.
So there's different parts of different cultures, which I love. And I'm thinking, why can't you pick the best and the things that you need to plug in to be the person and on the journey that you want to have?
I love that. So
that's with humanity.
Yeah. And maybe that means that then as leaders, really, if we think of the new approach to leadership, maybe we need to use different filters.
100%.
Than what we've been using.
Yep.
So if you were to change one thing in Australia, what would you change?
In some areas, I've already seen it starting to happen. And that's just that there's more positivity and encouragement.
Positivity.
And encouragement.
Yeah.
Looking like our next generation.
A very positive thought.
Yeah, we'll see our next. I was
encouraging you for being positive.
Yeah, I just look at it because my wife is a psychologist, child psychologist, and one of my daughters is also a psychologist.
Wow.
Our book
do they analyze you all the time?
Oh, they've given up on that. I think that's why they actually studied psychology. But anyway, and they're dealing with issues all the time. But what's coming through in the psychology now is the positiveness in psychology. And it wasn't for generations. It wasn't with just psychology, but it is now. It's the positive psychology, it's the happiness psychology. And I think it's absolutely brilliant because it's going to bring up a generation that thinks differently and reacts differently. The children, when I see what they're learning now, the tools that they have are so different to how we grew up. Absolutely different. And I think that's really encouraging.
Okay.
I think it's a great thing that helps change humanity.
He's encouraged that we're being more positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
See, I agree to that to a certain degree, but I think if we go too far over that way, then actually,
then when we're participation, you don't get a participation certificate. I'm not talking.
I know
about
because
that.
But like just
you
get
attended.
this.
Here's your certificate. No, not that.
I know, but here's the other side of it, right? Like if everyone thinks we have to be positive, then what happens is if I say something, you'll go, that's negative.
No.
And then you kind of get dirty on me because I've just said something negative. Because when it becomes the norm, I don't know, like this is, I mean, you think about it, right? Like part of the reason across the globe right now there's so much division is because a lot of the time we're not allowed to say things because we're going to upset someone. We're not allowed to think about something because, well, who gives you the right to think about that? Come on, there are moments like that right now, right?
I think people are just so into themselves. What's happened is we've become very self-centered.
Okay.
But that's generalization. But
that was, but
yeah,
I'll let you have
thank
that
you.
one.
Yeah, generalize. Yeah. So self-centered, a lot of people have their particular beliefs. And who do they hang out with? People with the same beliefs.
Yeah, right.
And so if you say anything against my belief, you're wrong, or you're an enemy, or you're stupid, or whatever it is. But we live in a diverse world. We don't all have the same opinion. We know all this as leaders. So the one thing which we've talked about is that you start off with what common ground do you have? Right?
Yes.
And that's what leaders really need to start with. Finding the common ground is something that we all both agree on before, as we start this conversation to find an outcome. We may not agree on a lot of other things, but we'll find one thing.
That's true too. Yeah. That
we can agree on.
And the thing that I always do, and I go back to the decision table, is that I believe the one thing I even ask people this at the table, right? So do you think you're a human? And fortunately, everyone has said yes. I said, so can we agree then everyone at this table is a human? Great. So that is our first playing field that we can play from.
Correct.
Now, your differences that you bring are the distinctions.
Correct. Diversity. Yeah.
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 It's interesting though, isn't it?
Yep.
But it's a different way to think. It's a different filter. It's a different lens in which we start filtering things out. And this is one of the things that I'm really using as this year is that I want to, everything I do, look through the lens of humanity as stakeholders at the decision table.
Yeah.
And when you've got humanity as stakeholders, I mean, there's so much conversation around that. But anyway, we won't go down that one. But I think it makes you go, well, it evens that playing field out, right?
100%. Yeah.
Because each one of us are human. We come with needs, we come with wants, and we come with whatever we've learned as a human already on our journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I don't know that leadership has always welcomed that. And I'd like to think that part of this new approach to leadership is changing the landscape in this way.
Where really part of what you're describing there is stakeholders and the different stakeholders that are involved in any type of decision or process, whatever you're going to do. And there's always this one thing we all know: you're never going to, keep everyone happy all the time.
I'm pretty good at it.
Not.
Oh, you just blew my bubble then.
So
seriously, I think I'm going to need some therapy from your wife.
Yeah.
Or
my daughter, or whatever you want.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
Yeah. We'll fix that up. So I think stakeholders in any decision. I remember once in this, I had this issue I had to solve.
And you had an issue. Oh, okay.
At a corporate level for a huge organization, like 33,000 employees, right? And I remember thinking, why don't we change this? And so I arranged a meeting, and I said, because I'd taken over this chair, and I'm saying, like, so who should be involved, blah, blah, blah. And I go into this meeting, and all of a sudden there's like 15 people at the table, and I thought it was a small matter, right? But there's all these stakeholders.
Wow.
And they all had something different to talk about and their position. And that's that whole thing about leadership, where you still have to get an outcome, but you've got to look at all the stakeholders.
You do.
And work through it.
How can we do that better in leadership going forward? Looking at all the stakeholders.
Well, it depends on what decision or where you are, what decision table you're at.
But if we were thinking about leadership and being more effective, maybe as us, as individuals, how do we do that?
you do have to become more cognizant of who are the stakeholders, because one of the things that you normally
Nice,
tend to
yes.
do is you see everything from your perspective until you sit down and say, well, actually, who does get affected or who is involved with this? And that's not something we kind of normally do
No.
when we're doing something. So
Hmm.
that's a good starting point to become aware of who the stakeholders are.
Well, this is what these conversations are really about, is to learn more about different people and the thinking and lenses that people are using in what they're seeing and how they're doing leadership, so that we can sort of go, I never really thought about that perspective.
Yeah.
I never really saw it from that kind of point of view, right?
Yep.
And then going, all right, now that we've kind of gathered this information, got these insights, how can we be more effective as leaders? And I think that this is so important. I think it's missed a lot of the time. I think there's pieces along here that at times people do really well. Like I think there's even an awareness right now, I believe, where people are saying, okay, we've got to change the conversation.
Yeah.
So people are actually agreeing with that. There are people out there doing that at the moment. What I've learned is, now that they've agreed about that, they don't know how to necessarily have those conversations. And they definitely don't necessarily know who should be at those tables, and then how to navigate that to actually see change.
Yeah.
So it's I think we're at an interesting time right now where there is almost this willingness for a new approach to leadership.
Yeah.
But how do we step next?
Well, it's always going to depend on what you're trying to solve and the environment that you're in. What are the boundaries that you have to operate within?
Dude, we've got no boundaries here.
No, that's right. But a lot of situations in life there are boundaries.
Except murder. Don't murder.
Well, no, that's murder. Right. No. Yeah. But see, in a lot of situations in life, there's always boundaries.
And we don't want gluttony, because then we have heart attacks and all sorts of things. So we don't want that. So there are a few boundaries, I guess.
Yeah, there are.
But they are. We know what our yeses are, and I guess we know what our nos are.
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't know that. It's funny because I think a lot of people think things like systems, things like, are actually kind of take away your freedom. But I actually find that it helps. I mean, the more systemized that you are, the more pathways that you understand, and you've got things, it gives flow. And actually, you're able to be way more freer because of it. I know, I saw it there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you didn't have systems every day, you'd be trying to type your own shoelaces.
Yeah, but here's the thing. A lot of people think systems are like, oh, that's restrictive. So maybe some boundaries are actually there because it gives us sort of like, okay, we bounce off that edge to go further.
Well,
it's interesting, isn't
it? You need to have learnt lessons from the past to be able to grow. You've got to stand on shoulders of other, on the shoulders of other people who have been before, things that have been learnt. Otherwise, you'd just be totally learning everything again. But then
who wants to do that?
No, I don't.
No, me neither.
Not every day.
No.
But then you've got to say, well, where's your vision? Where's your passion and your vision?
Yeah.
Because we can talk about leadership all day long till the cows come home.
I don't think people who are listening would hope that we are going to do that.
No,
we will finish soon.
Yeah, we will. But it comes down to, you've got your life, you've got this one lifetime, this one opportunity. Where are you going to put in your energy? What are your passions? And what are your goals? And it comes through. So my goals can change by collaborating with you. Your goals can change collaborating with me or someone else, because you have a different perspective. So those collaborations are really important. Right? And who you choose to spend that time with.
Totally. And who you spend that time with, and is that someone that you want to be allowing into? Like, I think time is so valuable.
That is the most precious thing we have, yeah.
Well, yeah, our faith, our children. I mean, there are a few things that are pretty precious to us. So,
but what we do with that time, limited time,
yeah. It's so funny because, like, okay, so I have to say that, because otherwise I think, well, then someone's going to interpret that all I think is time is important. But really, I think time is one of the important things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going for that old story of time is money. That's not what I'm saying. But if we disappeared today and died, our time's gone.
That's a good
point.
point.
So our time is the essence of what we can do. When our time's gone, our time's gone.
Yeah.
Of course, my faith is
in
the
other
most
words,
important thing.
in other words, things like time allows us to be more effective.
Correct.
Yeah.
But then you have your priorities. Like to me, my faith is most important. My wife and my marriage and my children. Like, you know, you have your priorities and you have your belief systems.
Yeah.
And you work out from those.
Interesting, isn't it? Wow. We've sort of dug down quite a lot today.
Yeah, we have.
Is there more that you'd want to add to that? Is there something we haven't talked about yet that you feel is, you know, a new approach, a new thinking? I don't know. You know, I talk about it, and actually it's going to be the theme on the decision table for next month. But I talk a lot about the ability to exercise the muscle of human intelligence.
No, that's good. That's very good. Yep.
I know. Thank you.
Yeah.
But it's good because that's my whole work is based on that. So it better be good. But here's the thing.
It's
like
a muscle. It's a muscle. You got to work it.
It is a muscle.
You got to work it.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't told. I wasn't in an environment that encouraged me as a young girl that I was smart. Like I literally wasn't. Like I was actually told you're dumb. You won't amount to anything. Why are you even bothering? Like, why would you go down there? And I kind of started believing that. Now, understand, I was dyslexic. I wasn't good at English because they talked about Romeo and Juliet, and I couldn't give two hoots about Romeo. Sorry for all the English lovers. So they had probably some points that I was probably not that effective at that. But the reality was I thought really different to everyone else. And I actually found that's been my genius zone now, is that I think so differently. But the reason I bring this up is because there's so much in leadership around when you think differently. It's kind of like you can actually be like an isolation over here because you stand out so different. And people don't understand what you're talking about or thinking, and you've got to then bridge that gap. And I think a lot of us don't step out and pioneer new things because it's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel nice being different. I remember being that young girl growing up going, I just want to be like everyone else. I don't want to look different. I didn't want to sound different.
But I think that's a teenage thing. That's a childhood thing.
No, I literally didn't want to be because everyone would say.
Yeah, but everyone wants to be part of the
I
group.
grew up in this as a kid where they were putting me from family to family. And that in itself, they would say to me, oh, how come you look different? So like it was all through my life in so many ways. So I really just wanted to be a part of a family. I just wanted to look like everyone else. And I didn't want people to question it.
Yeah.
And yet I now know that uniqueness has become my strength. That different thinking is all the stuff that I teach and train around human intelligence and how I think that actually as humans, and when humans are stakeholders at the decision table, we need to be smarter humans. We need to be able to think for ourselves. I think the world has got us in a place right now where we rely on other things to help us to think, whether it's systems, whether it's the next app, where it's next whatever, right? What if we could be smart humans making smart decisions?
But then I think a lot of people should give up social media.
Yeah, you think that would be the good starting point?
They have a great starting point.
Yeah. It's interesting though, isn't it? And I think this is what this is about, is how can we as leadership or leaders, how can we have more of these kind of conversations where we are finding out that there maybe is a different way to do it, and going, how do we then start putting this into play? Because I think that's another question and another not an easy thing. And then definitely, how do we do the uncomfortable? Because a lot of this, if you think of pioneering new ways, if we're thinking of doing it a different way, that's kind of uncomfortable because there's a lot of uncertainty with it.
Yeah, I think that.
I love it personally.
Yeah, well, I think what I actually enjoy is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it actually is quite fun now.
It is, right?
Yeah, because it's on the other side of your uncomfortableness that you get growth.
Oh, I like that. Yes.
And so becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable, it's a great thing. I say, okay, what am I going to learn out of this? What's going to happen here? And I've never done that before. Okay, so what? Get it, if it's uncomfortable, it's okay. It's okay to be uncomfortable. Because we're always saying, we just want everything right. We don't feel right. You don't have to feel right all the time. It's okay to be uncomfortable. Yeah. I think it's great.
Has this been uncomfortable?
Well, it's not something I'd come along to do today. Absolutely not. But, I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. It doesn't worry me.
Yeah.
And what I love is the pioneering spirit. Absolutely. I'm getting fired up now because now you're touching on something I love. I love pioneering. I love creating something that doesn't exist or seeing the potential and how can you make that work and who can you involve and how can you bring other people's potential out to make that happen. It's leadership.
Yeah.
Right?
It is so leadership.
And that's what you're talking about. But then you start throwing in some of the elements you're talking about, the humanity, the stakeholders. It becomes even more exciting.
Yeah, right.
What could we do?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think if we can reframe that, that's a powerful tool. When we can reframe, instead of being fearful, instead of being afraid of the uncertain, going, wow, what can the uncertain bring? What opportunity?
Yeah.
What can we pioneer? Going back to curating the spaces, what can we create, design that might come from this, that we can actually do it differently and get growth on the other side of it, right?
100%.
Oh my gosh. I get so excited by things like that because for me, the uncertain pathway means we don't have to do it the same way.
100%.
Oh my gosh. That sounds so good to me, right?
Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah.
No, I really enjoy that.
I know. It's cool, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So normally I say, where do they get hold of you? But we're going to be doing some things. Yeah, exactly. We are around. We're here. We're whatever. Yeah. But I do want to ask you a question because I do ask this every time. And hey, Christopher, look, 1,000%. Awesome. Thank you. Boom. Very true. Here's the thing. I ask this question every time we have a conversation at the decision table, and it's this. What have you got from our conversation today? What are you taking with you?
To talk more. Actually, to have more conversations, even with more people.
Yeah.
And to actually, I'm trying to think up things I can do during the week that I think, that'd be uncomfortable. Because I want to go do something uncomfortable. And say, because there's the thing we have in our head about failing, because I don't want to go try something new because I might fail. Well, that's wrong thinking, because if I'm trying something new, I'm opening up something new.
Yeah.
So I'd like to go away and try some other uncomfortable things this coming week at the time I got left. I want to be able to talk more to people and have deeper conversations.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to do from our conversation today?
Tell me.
I want you to join me on this. So it's not just me want to do, but I'm hoping you'll join me on this.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Next 7 days.
Yeah, what?
Every day.
Yeah.
Let's do one thing that we're uncomfortable with.
Yeah, I'm in that.
Yep. Yeah. I'm going to put it into, let's do it in the Leaders Movement Facebook group. And then people can come in there as well. And we can put it in there every day that you've done your uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I want you to put it in there. I'm going to put mine in.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Can other people join in and put their uncomfortable in?
Sure.
Wow, we can become an uncomfortable group.
It's going to be very uncomfortable, isn't it? So that's the Leaders Movement Facebook group. I'll put it into the comments below. That's going to be so uncomfortable.
Yeah, I want to join the uncomfortable group.
Yeah. Maybe we should have built this Facebook group called the Uncomfortable Group. Be comfortable with the uncomfortable.
It's the growth.
Group.
It's the growth.
It is the growth, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next 7 days,
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, who
Yeah.
knows? And I wonder what's going to come out of it.
We could brainstorm a list. I got to brainstorm a list now. Of
I think
things
we
that make me
will
uncomfortable.
once we get off.
Yeah, we could. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Christopher's in too. So
Oh,
join the
cool.
Facebook group, the Leaders Movement. I think it's leadersmovement.com Facebook group, but who knows?
Is it there already?
Oh yeah, there's one
Oh.
already. Okay. Seriously?
Wow, that was
I
uncomfortable.
was uncomfortable with that too. It would have been really uncomfortable if that had fallen on our head.
That's a good way to end.
Well, at least you know we're real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're real. Yeah.
We're real.
Kick the bucket then.
We did. Okay, so if we were to sum up, what has been some amazing droplets of wisdom on the decision table today? It's a good head start. Yes, Christopher, it definitely was. Welcome to my world. Okay, so one, we're going to be doing the challenge. I think that's a good thing. That's
Yeah, I
come
think
from
that's very good. Yep.
it. The uncomfortable challenge.
Yep.
I'm uncomfortable just thinking about it right now.
So am I. It's cool, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah, that's very
Yep.
good. Yeah.
Mhm. What else? We've talked about things like the importance of collaboration,
Yes.
the
we
things of having a clear pathway forward.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
To help you move faster. We've talked
Yes.
about curating spaces to get into a state to be
Yeah.
able to produce the best things.
Yep.
We've talked about boundaries or lack of boundaries.
Yeah. Systems and process because they do
Systems,
exist and they're
process.
important.
Yeah, productivity
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
that.
Leverage.
Yeah. Leverage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked about having frameworks.
Yep. Yep.
And how that helps us to be able to, do things faster, the velocity of that. What
Yep.
else? Has that covered it all? Having fun.
Oh yeah.
Have you had fun?
Yeah, fun's a really important part.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Have you had fun today on the decision
Yeah,
table?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially my
crashing,
mind. My
the
mind's
veins.
going crazy about what am I going to go uncomfortable with?
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be fun.
All right. I'm uncomfortable with the fact that he's uncomfortable, but I'm going to really enjoy that because I like watching him squirm too. I think that's going
I'm
to be
not
fun.
squirming. I'm enjoying it.
Oh, of course he's not.
Yeah,
He's
come on.
squirming. He's
Yeah,
squirming.
come on.
Yeah. Oh, he's getting into state now.
Yeah, I'm in the state. Oh,
Wow.
holy dooly.
I hope that anyone that's been listening and those that come on the replay, that if you've got droplets of wisdom from the decision table today, I hope that you take it, you learn from it, you glean from it, you leave behind what you don't want to take on board.
Yeah.
And if you have, to share it out with people in your world. Because here's the thing, the only way we are going to have a new approach to leadership is if we create more and more awareness to what it could look like and then get more people on board with it.
Yeah. Something else I just thought of.
Of course you did.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Is a lot of the times when we come to a decision table
Mm.
in our lives is what baggage are we bringing that we don't need to have with us anymore?
Did you bring any baggage?
Well, the idea is that if I've got baggage hanging around,
Yeah.
it's a weight I'm carrying. I don't need
I
to.
know.
It doesn't free me up to move
So true.
faster. So what baggage and what's the cost of carrying that baggage forward from here?
Mm.
So I'm going to have to let some baggage go to get uncomfortable.
Whoa, what a way
Yeah.
to finish.
Yeah.
I gotta get rid of some baggage so that I can
influences me.
what? Get
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. I'm not going to get uncomfortable if I don't let some baggage go.
Yeah.
So I have to let go of some baggage.
Wow, you took the whole hour to come up with that real, that was like that boom moment.
Boom, boom.
Yeah. Was it because you almost had something fall on your head, or was
Yeah.
or is it just the fact that you're in relief now that the decision table is nearly over?
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, as I was saying, make sure you share this because we want to get the word out, and we want, if you know someone or some people that would be great for me to have conversation with on the decision table, then we want to hear from you. If it's you, then reach out Let's get you on a decision, on one of the decision tables. We've got some amazing themes. This month has been all around, a need for a new approach to leadership. I truly believe this. And after talking, we're on day 28. After talking to 28 people using this as a lens, it feels like there's a lot of people who are agreeing on that. And I think, the way we start bringing change is when we collaborate, when we have these conversations, and then we go, well, what is it that we can do? And one of the things we are going to collaborate on in the next 7 days is having these uncomfortable conversations.
Or not just uncomfortable conversation,
or uncomfortable moments, or uncomfortable whatever that is for you, right? And
cool.
Christopher, you're in with us, so I'm excited about that. Join us on the Leaders Movement Facebook group. We'll put the link in here. I'll have to make sure you're a member of the Facebook group, which I'm sure you're not right now.
Yeah.
So we will make sure Robert's in there as well, because we like leaders that keep moving forward.
Yes, we do.
So let's keep being one of those.
Yep.
What do you reckon?
Yep.
Okay. Is there any parting words of wisdom?
No.
Or you're all out now?
I'm all out. I've got a lot to do today.
He's got a lot to do. So I'm going to end the broadcast now. Thank you to everyone who has come here. And I know we don't normally do it at this end of the day, but we hope that it was worth the wait with my guest here today on the decision table. Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Boom.
Boom.